My friends, it is time once again for Battletech News. There's a lot of positive things to really take away from the news that was just dropped by Catalyst Game Labs on their website, and we're going to talk about a lot of that here and the implications behind it. So I'm going to be covering this news in the order with which they posted it, and this is unscripted. Ah yes, the unscripted news videos, the most dangerous of videos. So, with that said, let's get started. First of all, they've posted something that they've already announced prior, which is that the Star League Lances are coming out. And they've put them in order of release, but just to go over them here, in the first quarter of this year, we are going to be getting the Star League Command Lance. The Lance contains the much anticipated Atlas II, Thunderhawk, a Phoenix Hawk, and an Orion, the Orion being pre-painted. After this, we get into the 40th anniversary box sets, which are re-releases of the beginner box and a game of Armored Combat. Nothing has changed about them, it's just the boxes that are different, and apparently in, I believe, the game of Armored Combat, it may have a different lore pamphlet in it. After this, they're announcing, of course, the second Star League Assault Lance, which is coming out in the second quarter of 2024. This will contain an Emperor, an Argus, a Helios, and Victor Steiner Davian's Daiashi, the Prometheus. I believe the Prometheus is going to be pre-painted. It also comes with an added coolant truck, which is going to be fun for objectives, or for just having it on the board. Next up, there are actually going to be 3 new neoprene maps coming, which are really cool in my opinion. First, you got legendary maps Misery and Thunder Rift, as well as Twycross. These are standard size maps, but are meant to give you the ability to play some of these legendary engagements. After that, though, they've got the City and Lunar map, but it is the really big one, the BFM. This one has quite the price tag attached to it, but it is enormous, being 48 by 72, or 6 by 4. So this is basically the size of a tabletop wargaming table. Another exciting announcement is, of course, the upcoming Field Manual Davian book. For those of you who are Warhammer 40,000 fans or come from other systems, this is basically the equivalent of an army book or codex. This is going to have a PDF that is going to add Ilclan era formations to it, if I remember correctly, but this is a really big release. It's a very anticipated release. I have a version of it coming in my Kickstarter bundle, in fact, because when I saw this was available on there, I immediately grabbed it. Sons and daughters of the Federated Sons will be very happy to get this one, I suspect. And that is coming in May of 2024. Next up, you've got the Battletech Universe book, which is going to come sometime in the middle of 2024, they're saying. This is probably the most anticipated book they've ever released. It's a 280-page tome, if I remember correctly, that is going to be covering almost all of the lore of Battletech from the Age of War all the way through to the beginnings of the Ilclan era. It's a great place for people who are going to be starting getting into the lore of Battletech. It's a true passion project. You can see that if you follow Randall Bills and others on social media, just how much love and attention went into this and into its limited edition. I'm extremely excited for it. I have obviously a copy of this coming, and I can't wait to sink my claws into it. Next up, summer 2024, you're going to get Recognition Guide Volume 2 Ilclan. For those of you who don't know, this is basically the technical readout version of the Ilclan recognition guides. So they take a bunch of what those were out of the 33 volumes, and they condense portions of them into these volumes, with higher resolution art for some of the pictures, and more detailed explanations for some of them. This one is going to be going over a lot of the newer designs, it looks like, but it's still going to be very, very cool. I can't wait to get my hands on it. I enjoy Volume 1, and I have all of the recognition guides, because they're very useful for making my videos. So yeah, I look forward to getting this condensed, more detailed version of the book. What could possibly excite me more than Force Manual Davian? Why, if it isn't Force Manual Karita? I am super looking forward to getting this one. It's coming out in the third quarter of 2024, as announced by Catalyst today. It is extremely exciting. I think the cover art is absolutely gorgeous on it as well, so I am extremely excited to see this one come to fruition. I really do hope that it ends up being a great book. I'm hoping both it and the Davian book are great books. Next up, we've got the third Star League Striker Star, which is the one I think I'm the most interested in out of the Star League packs. This is going to be a must-buy for me. I'm going to be probably getting 4 of them, if I do say so myself. Though I'm going to have to strip one of the miniatures, it looks like, because there's no way that I'm taking the painted version of it. This one is going to have a Jackalope, a Kentaro, a Hammerhead, a Havoc, and a Lament in it. Though the Lament, I lament to tell you, is pre-painted. So that one is the one coming. It's going to be very, very exciting. My biggest disappointment is the mech that I want the most out of it is pre-painted. And I have no value in a pre-painted mech personally. They also have a brand new Lance Pack announcement here as well. Very exciting. Now, this one is going to be a Barnes & Noble's exclusive, which means if you're outside of North America, it is a real pain to get. So if you're in Europe or Asia or Australia, I am very sorry to hear that. I really do mean it. I have a lot of sympathy and compassion for the limited releases that these Mercenary Box get, usually for about a year. But we are getting Big Mac. The Big Mac Assault Lance, in fact. And it is coming with a Dark Age era mech in it, the Tianzong. It's a mech I almost ended up covering on the channel. We actually had a vote, and the Shiro beat it out for me to cover. But the Tianzong, very cool mech. I might even cover it prior to the release of this box. It's coming in the third quarter of 2024. Very cool. I find it very exciting. So, yes, it's also got a Black Knight in it, reposed, very cool. New variant of the Awesome, who couldn't love that? And you've got the Jumping Star Slayer. What more could you reasonably ask for? I think it'll be very cool. I'm looking forward to it. Hotspots Hinterlands, September 2024. Probably the best part of the entirety of the Ilclan era has been the Hinterlands storyline. There are ups and downs to it, just as with anything. But it is very exciting to see. I think that this is going to be a real excellent delve into the Hinterlands, giving, of course, new campaigns, expanded lore. It's going to be fantastic. The cover art for it looks absolutely gorgeous as well. I'm really hyped for this. I think the Hinterlands is probably the biggest hook that keeps people invested right now in the Ilclan era. So I'm very excited for this. I want to see more from this. I really do have a great deal of interest in it. In fact, I'm going to read the entirety of its description here rather than just leave this on the screen, which is, enter the Hinterlands with the comprehensive campaign guide to some of the hottest combat zones in the Ilclan era. A spiritual successor to the classics Hotspots duology, this sourcebook offers all the rules and contracts any unit needs for their ongoing Battletech games. Whether defending Sudaden from the Hellsource's onslaught, standing with Calamity Kell's Ark Royal Liberty Coalition, providing some forceful incentives to the Inlino Mercantile League's latest deal, or securing the Tamar Pack's place in the Inner Sphere, the opportunities for enterprising commanders are endless. Bring the excitement of the Ilclan era to your Battletech campaign with this source book, which includes complete campaign rules built out of the Battletech Mercenaries box set, as well as contract and game hooks for battles with and against every major Hinterlands faction. I'm excited for it. You should be too. This will be a great release. There seems to be another new-ish idea that they're putting together here for another product release that they have planned, which is their Blueprints line. They compiled the technical blueprints for 4 of their favorite juggernauts, the Phoenix Hawk, Warhammer, Timberwolf, and Direwolf. I'm into that. I'd like to see more about that. I'd like to know a little bit more about it before I get too hyped for it, but that's going to be interesting. Probably the biggest release out of all of these outside of the Universe book is the Ilkhan's Eyes Only, which is going to be the next follow-up in the campaign books that they've released so far for the Ilclan era. I'm going to withhold my opinion on this until it comes out. I may cover it. I know in the past it said I would cover it. I may cover it, I may not cover it. It's going to depend on kind of how the book is. I like Catalyst a lot. Catalyst has done a lot of great things for Battletech. There's a lot of great products in the horizon, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I think everything has been a hit. and we will have to see. This element of the Ilclan era has been the part that I have really not connected with at all, and I'm just not sure how interested I am in it, but I will at the very least be picking it up and reading it, and it is big news that there is finally a release date for it, which is November of 2024. The next big piece of news is the third Star League Battlestar is coming, which is going to have a Wendigo, Excalibur, Peacekeeper Malice, and a pre-painted Savage Wolf. I think a lot of people are looking forward to this one as well. The Wendigo and Excalibur, I'm sure, are particularly hot items. The Malice, at the very least, looks cool. And it will also have a Savior repair vehicle for an objective coming along with it. I think it will be probably a pretty cool Lance pack. I look forward to it coming out, and it will be interesting to see. This one's coming out in the fourth quarter of 2024, basically coinciding with the release of the Ilkhan's Eyes Only. One piece of news is that the Brush War series is going to be debuting in 2024. These are going to be a campaign book, similar to the other ones I've described here before, but facing more historic events into the past of Battletech. It's going to be very exciting. I look forward to getting these. They're usually great for lore dives for products like this from their Turning Points campaigns, which it seems that this is going to be a bit of a successor to. I look forward to seeing these come out and to see what they're going to really bring to the table. Again, another interesting product being brought forward by Catalyst this year. The 40th anniversary year is getting a lot of things. The final piece of news is going to be Battletech Print on Demand, which is that they are going to be allowing historically older books to get reprinted through DriveThruRPG. I've done this before through DriveThruRPG myself, in the sense of that I've bought the Werewolf 25th Anniversary, I think it was, in hardcover. It's a huge book. I very much like it. But DriveThruRPG does have a print-on-demand offering to the clients that sell through there for some of their products, and it looks like Catalyst is getting involved with this and expanding their library. So I think that's pretty cool. I look forward to seeing that. And yes, remember, DriveThruRPG, you don't just have to get PDFs through there, they do have some print-on-demand books. So, as the last piece of this news, I wanted to talk a little bit about the future. First of all, we don't know everything that's coming out this year. This is just a very big compilation. There should be more news about future releases and events for Battletech coming at Adepticon, and I suspect throughout the year. They are trying to make this a very big year. But one thing I want to mention that's very exciting is beyond, of course, the delivery of the Mercenaries Kickstarter, what is huge for Battletech this year is the beginning of a release cycle. So if you take a look at the competing companies with Catalyst Game Labs in this market space, of course not everything's a competition, but this is business, so it is a competition, you will notice that other companies in the past, Privateer Press, or companies in the present, like Games Workshop, and there's other examples as well, they tend to have release cycles. So Catalyst has been built recently in terms of Battletech on doing these big, exciting Kickstarters, and they're great. Everybody loves them, and they lead to eventually a big pile of retail expansion as well. But this is the beginning this year of a real release roadmap, which means there's going to be consistent new product quarterly. Now, because of the size of Catalyst Game Labs, they're not going to be doing monthly or weekly releases by any means. But if you take a look at this, this is the beginnings of the company making steps to be less Kickstarter dependent and less legacy dependent and more moving towards new releases, a new hype cycle, and a sustainable level of growth. This is extremely exciting. I think most of the products here are incredibly good, and I hope they get a ton of support from the community, because this is the future. This is the beginning of Battletech growing beyond its already impressive reach now into a bigger, more mainstream game. It's already one of the biggest games out there, but it's still, because of its release model, been a bit niche, and it's been a bit driven really by online more so than retail, though its retail has done fantastically as well. So this is the start of something that I think is going to be absolutely fantastic. I can't wait to cover the future growth of this game. We are headed towards great places. There's going to be more news, as I mentioned, at Adepticon. I suspect that we're also going to see some other box sets get announced for this year, I hope. But in the meantime, I am also excited because some of the release dates on these products give me hope that the Mercenaries Kickstarter will ship sooner than later. But of course, we will have to see. And just as a personal note, if you look at the news for the channel in specific, I have decided to not work 60 to 70 hours a week. Not because I don't love Battletech, but because I actually need time to paint and potentially do other things in my life than just make videos and live stream. So this change to the schedule is not going to have any impact on the channel specifically in terms of live streams, but it will have an impact that there's not going to be 2 videos a week consistently anymore. I'm aiming to have a single video come out every week, which is much more doable than just doing the full grind. And just as another quick aside for the channel, the Warhammer 2C video has its 3rd piece of artwork being worked on right now by Alan Blackwell, and there's going to be a lot of really cool things I hope to show about that enormous video as it prepares to come out, I suspect, for February. So with that all being said, now with the channel news being done along with the Battletech news, thank you everybody for joining us here today, and I look forward to seeing you all later. And are you hyped for these upcoming Battletech releases, like I'm hyped for these upcoming Battletech releases?